But we're going to have this be a lot more conversational at the request of the panelists. But Amanda, I'll start with you. You grew from one Jonesboro shop to 20 plus stores across 7 states. What about Jonesboro and this region made that possible, and what keeps you anchored here?
Okay, hey everyone, thank you so much for having us here today. We're so excited to be a part of this. So my husband Ted and I are both born and raised in Jonesboro. We're both Arkansas State University graduates. A little bit of backstory on our company. So when Ted was a freshman here at Arkansas State, he lost his mother to a battle with cancer, and he left school for just a bit to go to the mountains. He just wanted to get away, clear his head, and just be a part of that mountain lifestyle that some of you have probably experienced as well. But over time, he wanted to come back to Jonesboro and bring that mountain lifestyle back to Northeast Arkansas. Obviously, we don't have mountains here, but we do live in the natural state, so there are a lot of opportunities to create experiences and opportunities for our customers and for people that live here and teach them about the outdoors, and that has been a core part of our mission since starting our company. It's helping our customers live active and healthy lives. So Arkansas, as you know, is an incredible place to do business for many reasons. The cost of living is a lot less than other states, and we have definitely seen that as we've grown into other states as well. We have our hub here in Jonesboro and never plan for that to change. Our distribution center is here. It's a centralized location for us. We have FedEx that's just in Memphis, right, an hour away. We have other shipping hubs that we work with very closely to get our product in and out to our stores. And most of all of our stores receive product in 1 to 2 days, which is incredible for us because of our location. It's also a lot cheaper to ship in and out of Jonesboro, and so that has worked out really well for us. Tax structures are favorable for businesses here in Arkansas, and I'm sure that you've seen in your business that the community really supports you here. They support local businesses. They want to be a part of what you're doing. We make a part of our mission to give back to our community, and not just in Jonesboro, but all of the areas where we have businesses and stores. We want to make that just a piece of us giving back to the communities where we serve. But Jonesboro is home to us. Northeast Arkansas is home. We have a true desire to see this area grow and thrive, and we're doing everything that we can to retain young professionals and to keep people here in Northeast Arkansas.
Dave, Hybar continues a decade of a multi-billion-dollar steel investment here in Northeast Arkansas. Why here?
Well, thank you for the question, and thank you for the invitation to this event today. I first arrived in Arkansas 11 and a half years ago with a plan with my partners to invest at that time $1.3 billion to build what we had a vision would be the world's most environmentally sustainable steel production facility. And we're really a recycler. We recycle old cars, old refrigerators, old air conditioning units, buildings that are torn down. So we're a recycler at heart. Recycled metal floats up and down that Mississippi River. So the Mississippi River was attractive to us. The Arkansas River was attracted to us. But what really drove us to begin what ultimately has turned out to be an $8 billion of investment over that 11 and a half year period was the availability and the support of the electrical power provider, Entergy Arkansas. The final 3 sites for the original investment were all in the southern United States, but when we knocked on the door of Entergy Arkansas, that really was the game changer. Then we obviously had the support of the railroad and the state of Arkansas itself, the county. I see Cliff Chitwood is here from Mississippi County. I see Laura's here from Entergy, probably somewhere in this audience, someone from BNSF. But those are the groups that really paved the way for us to have the opportunity to be able to do 2 things every year. Have the highest paid steel workers in the world yet have the lowest labor cost per ton of steel because of the productivity.
Thank you. Eric, you've said entrepreneurship isn't glamorous. It's problem solving under pressure. What moment tested you the most?
This moment is testing me the most right now. Hi everybody, Eric Howerton, born and raised in Jonesboro, Arkansas. Graduated from Arkansas State University in the Department of Journalism. Very proud of that. It's been critical for my career. What Amanda didn't tell you is that I'm the key for Gearhead's success as his first customer. And Ted he'll validate that if you ever ask him. But we brought the mountains back. I was a dirty hippie during the summertime, during my college years, going over to eastern Tennessee as a whitewater raft guide. Yes, I am trained in swiftwater rescue. So if you ever need my help, I'm here to help you. But anyway, so yeah, entrepreneurship is not glamorous. To your question, Heather, I'll stay on track. I make Heather the most nervous up here, I can promise you. But yeah, entrepreneurship is not glamorous. It is hard work. It is grind. I mean, every day I'm waking up and I'm having to, face my own negativity of other folks that come in the office, negativity of clients, negativity of the market. And so you really have to, I think it's mostly emotional. Like, how can you have that emotional intelligence to speak your vision back to yourself, campaign your vision back to the team, campaign the vision back to the market, and keep relentlessly focused on what your objective and your purpose is. And you really have to know your why, because everything else in between is really distracting and you're trying to get ping-ponged around. And that's really the world I've been living in for a little over 20 years. And so I'm just a big proponent of, if anybody is trying to, is thinking about being an entrepreneur, it's not really a rule book. It's not really a tactical guide. It's not necessarily logical. There has definitely a lot of emotions tied to it.
Dean Washam, A-State is bridging classroom learning with real-world needs. Where are you seeing university-industry connections translate into tangible outcomes for founders and employers?
Well, when I think of entrepreneurship, I think of innovation to solve problems. So our goal is entrepreneurship in people starting new businesses, but our goal is also an entrepreneurship mindset for students who get out who solve problems for businesses as well, just within the business. And we approach that through basically 4 different things. One is classes. We have our entrepreneurship class that Dr. Slamer teaches, where students will develop new plans for businesses. They have pitch contests. That's part of Create at A-State in April. So we go through that. We also have the class that's currently being taught by Heather Nelson and Chancellor Shields, where we have a group of students who have been, I'll go with blessed, okay? They've been lucky enough to go through this class where every Tuesday night there are wonderful business people, entrepreneurs who come in every Tuesday night to talk to a group of students to tell them about their journey, answer questions, and connect with those students. So I know Harvey was up here a while ago. Harvey's been, Johnny Allison's been. It's been a group. I think Amanda, have you been? Okay. Wasn't sure if you'd been or if you were coming. I wasn't sure what her schedule was. But so we give students a chance to learn from them and understand what's worked for them in the industry, what problems they've solved, how they've innovated. Our students also have the chance to work on research projects. And a lot of those times, like I said, it's solving problems, it's entrepreneurship mindset, I'll get it there in a second, mindset about solving problems and innovating. So we have students who are doing research on AI applications. We have a couple of students who have been funded through the Riceland Scholars Program that Dean Latour mentioned a few minutes ago that the College of Agriculture has headed up. And they're doing, one of them is doing research on AI implementation and marketing, which they're working on that for Riceland, but those same principles will come back to help other businesses start and other businesses innovate. We have others who are doing research on artificial intelligence being used to create personas for surveying market data without having to talk to real people. If you don't have a large sample, it's a way to kind of get that. So our students and our faculty doing research and ways to innovate and solve problems. We also have the Small Business and Technology Development Center as a part of the College of Business, and they provide business consulting services to small businesses in a 10-county region. In the last 10 years or so, since 2014, they've helped with about $120 million in capital infusion. They help with loan packages, design capital structures, support about 9,000 jobs, and they also do small business training throughout the region. I think they've done about 21 training sessions over the 10-county region this year so far.
Okay, we want to talk a little bit about culture, partnerships, and workforce. I'm going to shake it up a little bit, and Dave, throw it to you to talk a little bit about the partnership with Arkansas Northeastern College and A-State to build a steel workforce pipeline. From your side of the table, what makes an education industry partnership actually work?
Well, Arkansas is fortunate that it has some very, very strong university and colleges that can support a pipeline of individuals and students that might have an interest in joining into a heavy industrial facility. And one of the things I'm so pleased that I'm here today, when people think of the steel industry, the first thing they think of is steel workers. And when I started putting these mills in place, primarily across North America, but elsewhere in the world, steel making was 80% brawn and 20% brains. Most of our workers look like high school linebackers, tight ends, because you were literally moving steel with large sets of tongs, moving it by hand. Today at a company like Hybar, we're 90% brains, 10% bronze. But the other point is, working for a company like Big River Steel, which was the first one we started here, or Big River 2, or now Hybar, people interested in logistics, people interested in marketing, people interested in IT, people interested in food services, people interested in healthcare, and then, of course, the metallurgy. And we're working with Arkansas State University to really take what has been developed over the last 10 to 15 years at Arkansas Northeast College and bring some of the research capabilities and combine the A&C and Arkansas State programs. These are high-paying jobs, high-paying jobs. There's a certain number of years over the last 11 and a half where the average worker at one of my companies was making over $200,000 a year. The average graduate coming out of the Steel Academy at Arkansas Northeast College, first year compensation is over $115,000. So the way we pay people is we pay a weekly production bonus. The more steel you make, the more money you make. So you get your base wage, and then the target every week is 175% bonus. But I've had some weeks where the bonus has been close to 300%. Now, I've also had weeks where it hasn't even been over 100%. A tree fell on a power line, something broke in the mill, but believe me, when that mill breaks, it's like a NASCAR pit crew. Everybody is working their tail off to get it back up and running, because until it's running, zero bonus. And everybody is tied to that bonus pool. So thank you for the question.
Amanda, many of your leaders started as student employees. How do you build a culture that promotes from within and teaches people to think like owners? Especially, part B, especially as you continue to scale the way that you have.
So most of our team members do start as sales associates, including Ted and myself. In fact, I've worked on the sales floor most all of the time that I've been with Gearhead Outfitters. It's just been in the last probably 3 or 4 years that I've started working in an office and in our distribution center. We never ask anyone to do something that we have not done or not willing to do. So that's been important to us as we have led our team and our culture. So a lot of our sales associates do become managers at some point, and then even into administrative roles, and we've seen that with several of our team members that we have. We've even given people the opportunity to travel to new stores. A lot of them train in Jonesboro and then end up going and opening Tulsa or Springfield or different locations like that. So they have opportunity to travel and see other places, but then they take that Gearhead culture with them. So growing from within has been something that's been really important and a focus for us. We give responsibility early on. It's really up to the managers how they want to lead their team and what they want their store to look like. I mean, that is their store, and they do get ownership of that. This week, Andrew, who's here today, our Uptown manager, he checked in with me and he's like, okay, you know, Black Friday's coming up. Do you want to work? What hours would you like to work? So we still work really closely with our teammates, just making sure that we're doing what they need and taking care of them and filling in gaps. Ted is currently working as a truck driver for Gearhead, so he takes product once a week to Northwest Arkansas and honestly saves us a ton of money, about $800 every time he drives. He's always looking at that bottom line and those numbers, so we appreciate that. I'm also doing the dirty job of working in warranty in our distribution center, so all of that product that comes back that has holes in it or people return because their feet hurt or whatever it is, but it's my responsibility to get credit back on those things from our companies. So again, every little dollar makes a difference, but we just fill in the gaps as we can. We have a different mentality as far as our pyramids. It's kind of an inverted pyramid, I would say. Our customers that's our boss, and we all look to them listen to them. What are their needs? What are they asking for? And our sales associates are that front line. So we make sure that we're hearing them when they say, hey, we need more of this style of jacket, or we need more color in the stores. You know, that works its way to management, to admin, and then we discuss that and evaluate and make changes based on that. So we do allow our team to make decisions and want them to feel like their work is truly important, and it is. One of our funny stories, but when we hired the first bike manager, he moved here from Little Rock to open our Gearhead Cycle House, and I mean, it was just Ted and I pretty much, so we didn't have manuals or policies, procedures, and he's like, okay, Ted, what do I do? It's my first day, and Ted's like, make it happen. You know, and that's just kind of been our mentality. You just, here you go, here's your store, make it happen. And we've been lucky that it's worked that way.
Fantastic. Eric, not everybody's going to create a startup, but every business, there's a lot of us that think every business needs entrepreneurial thinking. In class this semester, we've talked a lot about entrepreneurial mindset, and you were a guest panelist, and you and Patrick both talked about that to the students. Can you talk a little bit about that and why you think that's important?
Yeah, I think that, you know, when we contemplate that, you know, whether it's a major company, small company, or even, you know, one of my small companies, what we're really wanting is for folks to have that drive, that passion towards what we're doing. You know, I love what you're talking about with the bonus structure. We employ that as well to try to get people to stay aligned to that. But it's one of the hardest things in the world to do, isn't it? I mean, because I think that if you're either a business owner or maybe you're an executive, you work with the board, I mean, there's a lot of clarity in the leadership position as to why you're trying to achieve the things you're doing. And whether your company's major or small, you know, it's even more difficult at a major company to have everybody as much as possible on board as to why they're coming in that day. And I think that's the real essence, and I'm still trying to figure that out. Like, it drives me absolutely crazy, even with my small team. Like, I walk in the doors and I know why I'm there that morning, and I know why I'm leaving the next day, and why I might check my emails in the evening, and I'm not watching my time clock, and all that kind of stuff. Those are the entrepreneurial mentalities of that, why you're doing what you're doing. And I think that one thing that's been successful is, kind of like what Amanda was saying, just like in my office, I take out the trash. I mean, one of my biggest things in the world is making sure our restrooms are clean in our studio. Like, it's unacceptable to me, and so I make sure I do that, and people see me do that, and I'll get in, behind the Word documents or whatever, and crank out what needs to be done, and I'll lead by example in a lot of things. But it's not really necessarily because I'm trying to lead by example. It's because I'm literally trying to make sure that the business stays successful and that we have things to do. And I really wish that everybody would walk in and have that mentality. Honestly, everybody's really distracted in today's time, and I've seen that being my biggest battle. Like, just the negativity that's in social media, the negativity that's in every walk of life that these folks are hitting with, and there's just a lot of historic mentality that kind of comes with every single individual. And I just try to instill a little bit more optimism as to what they can achieve. I genuinely believe that I believe more in the people that I work with than they ever believe in themselves. And so it's my job to get them to see that. And so I will sit down and have coffees with them, give them attention, and talk to them about, what are your goals and why aren't you doing this? And you can really just see the lack of self-confidence in a lot of these folks. But it's like, just push and do it. Just take a step. And I think that's really what we're all looking for with that.
Well, I think that what I just heard you describe was something that you referenced in your question is culture.
Yeah.
All right. When you start these businesses, and each one of these companies that we put in place is a brand new company. For instance, at Hybar, our first day in business, we had $1 billion in the bank and 3 employees. And what I've done over the last 24 months as we've been building this steel mill is work on culture. A lot of people come in and they say, well, I'm not responsible for profitability. That's the commercial team. No. Right. Everybody is responsible for profitability. So culture to me is the key. We have people that have left their careers at some just fantastic companies to come join a new startup, right? People been with companies such as Nucor Corporation for 20 plus years. They could have another 10, 15 years and have a great career, but something attracted them to a startup entrepreneurial entity. I sign every employment letter, and the first sentence says, this is welcome to Hybar, this is your title. The second sentence says, your job responsibilities are going to go far beyond what your title would normally indicate. Cleaning the restrooms, picking up trash. What you do every day, people are watching. Absolutely. So great comment.
I love that. Dean Washam, you describe entrepreneurship at A-State as a continuum from grade school programs to the university. Why start early, and what changes when students see entrepreneurship as a lifelong skill set?
Well, like you said, we decided to start early. And we think if we can get students involved early and build an entrepreneurship ecosystem throughout their lifetime to give them a continuum, like you said, start them early, then keep them going, then that will be their mindset going forward. And so they'll think in terms of an entrepreneur, an owner. Even if you're working for a larger company, you can think in terms of being an owner. And you think about everything from marketing strategy to product to efficiencies. And so we start early. Dr. Phillip, too, runs our Center for Economic Education. About a week and a half from now, November 17th, we will have 300 third through sixth grade students on campus for our Small Business Leadership Conference. They represent 15 different schools, and those students have put together or created their own businesses. They put together written business plans, print advertising. They will do their pitches. They'll do elevator pitch competitions. And so if you've never judged a third grade elevator pitch, let me know if you want to, and we will do that. That's always exciting. But it's really fun to see the creativity they have. And at that point, they've still got that imagination going they have, when they're younger. And so it's a lot of fun. Some of them are really great ideas, some not so great. But anyway, but they're in it. And so we do that 3rd through 6th grade. And after that, we work with Jonesboro Business Association. We help support them. They actually run a program for junior high students. So far, they've impacted about 280 junior high students at MacArthur Junior High here in Jonesboro. And their goal is to build a growth mindset in students, improve resiliency, make them more community-minded, and they do that through a 7-module entrepreneurship program. So they use an entrepreneurship framework to do that. So we assist with that by going and providing feedback for students and watching their pitches and things like that. I got to do that a couple of weeks ago. That was a lot of fun also. So we get them 3rd grade through, we help with Jonesboro Business Association in junior high and high school. The Delta Center for Economic Development runs Thrown to the Wolves, which is a Shark Tank style competition for high school students who bring in and pitch their business plans there. After that, they get to the university, they make it to college, and we, of course, have our entrepreneurship programs, and we have entrepreneurship classes, and we also have internships for students. So if they want to be an entrepreneur, and they want to do an internship with an entrepreneur or small business, they can do that. We had interns at about 80 different sites last year. This year, for the spring, we're piloting a new program. It's a virtual internship program where students will work on individual projects for companies around the world. So far, I've heard of U.S., Germany, and India so far that we have students who are working on projects. Right now, they're in the midst of interviews, so we'll find out where else, what other remote internships pop up after that.
Fantastic. So I'm going to keep it on you for a moment. Given the strength of entrepreneurship, what's happening in Northeast Arkansas, and this is just a small sampling, and the Chancellor and I can attest to that. We've had over 23, the Dean mentioned it, but we've had over 23 C-suite and entrepreneurs from across Arkansas come to speak to the students on Tuesday night over this semester, and it's been an amazing experience. I will say I'm not sure who's had more fun, the panelists or the students, but it's been remarkable, and I think the Chancellor and I have just learned so much watching those interactions and stuff. But when you think about all that's happening with entrepreneurship in the state of Arkansas, but specifically how much we're seeing here in Northeast Arkansas, what is the College of Business? What are you doing to look to the future?
Well, our latest thing is we've just revised and rebranded our management program. We've had a Bachelor's of Science in Management for a long time, and we looked at it and we said, we want to do something that drives innovation more, where we're thinking more strategically to support the entrepreneurship environment that we have in Northeast Arkansas and development in Northeast Arkansas. And so we have launched this fall the BS in Entrepreneurial Management and Strategic Leadership. Takes me a minute to get that out. And so we've redesigned that program. It's a little different than some entrepreneurship programs. All the students get a base in the functional business areas. So they do our normal business core, so they'll have accounting, they'll have some economics, they'll have finance, they'll have marketing, they'll have that base to work off of. And then they'll take courses in entrepreneurship, small business management. They will do a required internship in entrepreneurship along with that. And we're really excited about this. So we've made some changes in classes. We've developed some new things. There's a social entrepreneurship class. And of course, the class that Heather and Chancellor Shields are doing has been amazing. They're going to rerun that again in the spring. It's going to be exciting.
We are. I think there was a petition around with the students, so what we have been, we've had our arms twisted, so I think we are going to do it again in the spring. Yes, sir.
So we are thrilled about the new program and what it's going to bring with it.
Great. Thank you. Dave, from an employer's perspective, what specific skills or mindsets do you want to see in the graduates of this particular program, for instance, and what makes employees valuable to your companies on day one? Because we have a lot of students in the room, and they would love to hear what they need in order to wow you day one.
Well, I get wowed by a lot of employees because it's certainly not me that is the key to the success of these projects and companies we build. It's who we hire, all right? And what I look for is a work ethic. The university and the other educational programs, and I'm just thrilled that you're starting all the way in 3rd grade. We spend a lot of time in the local high schools trying to explain to people that, hey, you can have good, high-paying jobs right in your backyard. So work ethic, number one, not afraid to think out of the box. I tell people, I don't mind if you make a mistake. Our companies are not, if you make a mistake, you're in trouble. I just ask, please don't make the same mistake 2 or 3 times in a row. So the ability to reach and drive and be creative, and I meet with anybody who joins our company, we have either a one-on-one or a small group meeting. I have a company-wide meeting first Tuesday of every month where we talk about everything. Transparency, transparency, transparency. But I want to find those people who understand that what they do in joining a new entrepreneurial startup company will set the tone for our company for the next 40 or 50 years. That's what excites certain people. If all you want to do is come to work, put your feet up on a chair, you better not work at one of my companies, because there's no rest for the weary. We don't have time clocks. We work 12-hour shifts. 1 week you work 4 days, have 3 days off. The next week you work 3 days and you have 4 days off. But a lot of people are really striving for incremental hours, just given the type of compensation potential. And then that's a key. I'll finish real quick here. These are opportunities for people, not guarantees. If you figure out a way to work with your colleagues and you figure out a way to drive throughput and drive profitability, sky's the limit. But there's no guarantee. That's the type of person that we're looking for. And I've found plenty of them in Northeast Arkansas.
Love that too. Amanda, you've long relied on A-State talent. How could the program that we're learning about today here at A-State, an entrepreneurship program, how could that help you as you're looking to add talent in the months and years to come?
Well, we're very excited about that. It's going to be great for the university. So the majority of our admin team, higher level management, they are all Arkansas State graduates. We utilize Arkansas State in so many ways, and I will explain some of that here in a minute. But one of our higher level administrators, she started with us at 19 years old. She was going to school here at Arkansas State. She worked her way into management, managing our downtown location, then moved into the head women's buyer position, and now she is my boss. She oversees the entire company's distribution, operations, shipping and receiving, pretty much any inventory that we have, she oversees that. But because of a program supply chain at Arkansas State, she wanted to come back and get her master's degree in that so that she could get more experience, because that's not what her bachelor's was. So thankfully she could still work full-time, go to Arkansas State, take classes, and she graduated with that master's program. We use the Arkansas State Small Business and Technology Center, like Dr. Washam mentioned a minute ago. We use Laura Miller and her grad students anytime we're looking at a new location. For example, we're about to open Edmond, Oklahoma next week. So we have her grad students do market research for us in those areas, and it's all free, and it gives their grad students experience, but they look up income levels, they look up buying and spending habits, maybe competition or different brands that other stores sell that maybe we don't need to go in this location, or hey, look at this area. So we have utilized that program and it has been great for us. Collaboration with ASU and Northeast Arkansas is really essential for keeping and retaining young professionals. That is so important for us to continue to grow this area. We're lucky to have the NYIT program here and also the new veterinary school that's coming, but we want to keep those people here. Once they graduate, we don't want them to go off to other states. We want to for sure keep them in Arkansas, but if we could keep them in Northeast Arkansas, even better. And so I think just creating more opportunities, but back to what each of you have talked about with culture and getting to know the people that work with you. I mean, I think that that is so key to just even our city and this area is we've got to get to know these people. We've got to listen to them. We've got to find out what they're looking for in a city, and we've got to build on that. And so we can't lose that opportunity, or else we will lose them to other cities and states.
Absolutely. Eric, what advice would you give students on turning class projects into real products as our resident serial entrepreneur?
Yeah, first of all, how about Amanda Herget for president, right? I mean, prepared, articulate, what a wonderful speaker you are. You're welcome. I'm trying to get a free gift card for Gearhead. All right, so students, here's the thing, what I love to do is reflect back because my entrepreneurial spirit started when I was in college. I had no idea what an entrepreneur was. I had no aspiration to be an entrepreneur. But I remember jumping around in a creek bed in the Smoky Mountains, and my buddies had been taking a photography class at Arkansas State University. And I was taking this class in the fall, and I went and jumped around in this creek, and I was taking pictures, and I was like, this is what I want to do. Take pictures of water till I die and make lots of money. Like, who doesn't want to do that, right? Live in nature forever and be one with the water. But anyway, of course, that didn't really work out. But what did happen is that I found something that I was so absolutely just enthralled with. Before I found that, taking those pictures on that creek, if you looked back in my college career before then, which would have been about 3 years at that time, I mean, you wouldn't say I was really, on Todd's list of academia excellence, at Arkansas State University. But from that moment on, you could find me in the labs at Arkansas State University processing negatives, printing out prints, learning from Dr. Marlon Shipman about journalism and just going deep into I mean, I got into the Watergate, journalism, I just went into this world that I'd never explored before because I found this kernel of passion. And I had no idea why. I didn't investigate it. I didn't analyze it. I didn't start trying to reason with myself, what's this going to be in my life? What does this mean? And how much money am I going to make? None of that crossed my mind. I had a desire to change something, to contribute, and I just couldn't let go of it. And so when you ask this question, right, you need to have some passion and desire behind something if you want to do anything. I went and worked, I was an intern at Kent Watkins photo lab down the road, right down the road here. I went to the Jonesboro Sun and I was cutting rubies and negatives. I mean, it was crazy. Living in the best time in the world, by the way, when digital cameras came in. I mean, I had this traditional with this new. It was just fantastic. But I just dove into everything I was doing because I was so eager to learn and figure it out and do something. And so if you want to do well with a project in an entrepreneurial way, you have to love doing that project, right? You have to have an ambition and a desire to whatever you're doing, or honestly, being an entrepreneur may not be the right thing for you, because if you don't have that passion behind it, you're not going to make it. When it hits 4 a.m. and you can't stop thinking about all the stress you have, and you wake up. I slept for 6 hours last night. I didn't wake up one time thinking about anything. I was like, this is one of the best nights of sleep I've had in a long time. But that's what it takes, because if you're going to have a lot of challenges as an entrepreneur. You better absolutely be relentlessly wanting to do what you're doing.
Okay, my boss Jay has signaled that this needs to be our final question, but I'm gonna toss this out to all of you, so you guys can answer in whatever order you want to. thinking about everything we talked about today, thinking about the new entrepreneurship degree here, thinking about entrepreneurial mindset, what must we ensure that students master early, and that all of us master early? Whether you're a dean at a major university thinking of how do you do more collaboration with private industry and create new classes and new degree programs, or if you're out here creating companies, creating jobs, what do we need to ensure that we master early if we want to build stronger companies and stronger communities here in Arkansas, and even more specifically here in Northeast Arkansas? Whoever wants to go first.
I'll go. Mine's going to be short. I'm going to say curiosity. That's one thing. And the ability to identify a problem and fix it. The determination to, once you see it, the determination to go and find a solution.
So what I would say is I had the opportunity early in my career to graduate with an accounting and finance degree, become a CPA. Anyone who wants to be an entrepreneur, anyone who wants to work for an entrepreneurial company has to understand what drives bottom line results. Because you could be passionate, you could have a love of this or that, but unless you put money to the bottom line every day, every week, every month, every year, you're not going to be successful and you won't be able to grow. And we work with all of our employees to explain to them what EBITDA is, what EBIT is. I mean, when I first talk to some of these new people who join us, they think I'm talking cuckoo language. But anyway, that's what I would stress. Understanding of what drives bottom line results.
Go ahead. Herget.
So this is more for students that will be in your program. I think being realistic with what it looks like to be an entrepreneur, to own your own business. You cannot open the doors and not be there and expect it to succeed. You have to be married to it. You have to put everything you've got into it, and you can't just walk away and expect those results to happen. And I think that a lot of students are coming out of school right now thinking they're going to make $100,000 their first year, and that is so not feasible, especially if you're working in a small business. We don't have those kind of numbers, that we can pay people, and I wish that we did, but you've got to build into that. When Ted first started Gearhead, he didn't take his money out of it. He DJ'd at nights and weekends, he cleaned pools, and he mowed yards, and he did whatever it took so that he didn't take away from the store's profit, so that he could reinvest in himself. And so I just think being realistic with the students is key for that.
That's really good. You can make $100,000 in debt really easily, though. That's super easy. So, this discussion is so complex. And so what I would advocate for is what Todd and what Heather are doing with this program, right? And what you are doing. Start discussing, have lots of conversations. I absolutely think you should do definitely spring. You should really look at, this community needs to get behind. If you are serious about building economic structure around here, how do you get more folks to be able to see what they want to do, find the courses and learn how to run a business? What are the bottom lines? How do you cast visions? How do you build business plans? All those things, right, to spark that activity, because there's a lot behind it. When we talk about entrepreneurism, right, you're talking about running a business, and we're talking about just starting one. When you get to have to grow one, it's even more complicated. And so we need to have a lot of dialogue with that, and I applaud this community doing that. I really wish that did not exist whenever I was in college. And so this, for the students out there, I would take advantage of it. Ask questions. Be relentless to figure it out. Everybody needs you ever heard the expression, greasy wheel gets the grease? It's so true. That's what an entrepreneur is. They are the greasy wheel. Give me, tell me. And so I think that a community that supports that and can have dialogue and conversation is a great thing. And history really speaks a lot for itself. And I love the way that you are bringing in entrepreneurs and leaders to talk about that, because the real world is needed to be heard by the students so they can apply that, especially in entrepreneurism.
I just want to say thank you for noting that, because one of the first things that we said in that very first class was, by the time you end the semester, we want you to understand that entrepreneurship is all around you. The person who cuts your hair is an entrepreneur, the plumber is an entrepreneur, probably the person who services your HVAC. It's not just, Bill Gates or, at this point, the amazing people on the stage, but the continuum maybe we're overusing that word, but entrepreneurship is just everywhere, and we want students to understand that so that they can respect it, but also that it helps make them more curious about it, because we don't want them to have that single silo mind of it's only those big IPOs or billion-dollar companies. That's part of it, yes, but it's so much more broader and it's so much more complex, and I hope that we've done justice to bring in a variety of entrepreneurs in so that we can demonstrate that for the students. So I appreciate you saying that. And with that is going to conclude this panel, but what an honor, and we are so lucky to have these entrepreneurs here in Arkansas and in this region, and if you would, just let's give them a round of applause.